All right, so you've probably seen the craze about OpenClaw, and maybe you're using some automations already in your business. You're using Zapier, you're using Make, maybe you're using NAN and creating some AI agents. Today, I'm going to talk about the difference between the different softwares out there, the LLMs, and then also talk about OpenClaw, what makes it so different, so that way you can make sure you're making the most of it, and also picking the right situations for when to use certain things. Because like not everything makes sense to use for OpenClaw. Okay. It's a powerful thing. That doesn't mean you should use it for everything. Okay. So I want to talk about that so that way you can make sure you're maximizing every part and also not just wasting a bunch of time setting up something on OpenClaw that doesn't make sense for it to do. Okay. So now who am I? I'm Trent Lohr. I'm a six-figure business owner in terms of annual revenue. We've crossed $1 million mark in terms of product that we've sold. I'm also a computer science major. So I'm someone that understands computer science, engineering, the logic behind it. So that way, I'm not some random vibe coder. Okay. I'm not some 16-year-old broccoli hair kid. Okay. So let's dive into it. With that being said, so the way I see it, there's workflows and there's LLMs, right? LLMs. Workflows are Make, Zapier, NAN. So these are the kind of like flow type things. I mean, it makes sense. It's a workflow. It's getting work done in a flow. And obviously, you can create different branches, but you're going to be limited by what it can do in that flow. Obviously, you can also add an LLM in there, which is a large language model, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, that kind of gives it maybe some more feel to it. For example, common workflow that a lot of people use is for leads. You have a trigger event that happens. So maybe somebody submits a form. Cool. Then it goes down to, hey, it's going to fill out that form's information in a sheet. And then maybe you have another step that says like, hey, you're going to contact this person using GHL, Go High Level, Twilio, something like that. And then you're going to have a little ChatGPT step, you're going to have a Claude step or a Gemini step that creates a text message personalized for that person based on what they put in the form. That would be a simple workflow that incorporates an LLM. And technically, you could call that an AI agent because an AI agent is essentially is, and to be fair, I would not call it an AI agent because usually an AI agent is what is deemed as it's an AI model deciding what tools to use. It's when you give it multiple tools. So, for example, instead of just saying, hey, you're going to create a text message and then send that text message, you would say something like, hey, you're going to decide what action to take with this person. We're going to give you Twilio. You can call, you can text, you could potentially email them as well. And you have full custom to do whatever you want to do. You could follow up within 5 minutes or whatever the case might be. And you're giving them the proper tools to do so. And that's essentially what agents are. And that's what it comes down to is essentially an agent is a combination of workflows and LLMs and also tools as well, Google Docs, pretty much anything you can imagine. Now, what has happened is that previously, basically the main way that people were setting up those agents were through NAN. They have an AI agent, you connect the LLM, the model, you connect the tools that you want to use, and then you give it a certain prompt on, hey, this is what you're going to do, and this is how you're going to sort through the decision that you need to make, which is all good and well. It was amazing to do that. Now you have got OpenClaw. And so what essentially OpenClaw is it is not a workflow necessarily. It is an LLM that you're talking to that you give a ton of tools to. Now this can cause a lot of issues, to be fair, because obviously it now has unlimited access to whatever you give it to. So then with that, it can do a lot of good. It can do a lot of bad. But it's also not this predefined workflow. And that's what makes it so amazing is that it can come up with its own things as it prompts itself, as it has proactiveness with its heartbeats and its memory and all the things that you give it. It has access to this machine that allows it to use way more memory than it possibly would ever within a little chat box or something like that. So what I think it's really amazing at doing is just creating things. I think coding is an amazing use case for it. But for example, like it doesn't make sense for everything. I think one of my favorite things is I love to create workflows with it. But what a lot of people do is like they have like, oh, hey, I'm going to make my OpenClaw remind me to do something every single day. And it's like, that's not necessarily necessary for OpenClaw to do. That should be a workflow. Another example, like one thing that I, for example, accidentally set up as a workflow that I didn't mean to was like, okay, I was like, hey, I want you to set up a notification system within our Discord to our clients when they get email reply. Cool. It did that. Did it quite well, but it was like OpenClaw doesn't need to do this. And it's relying on a webhook. And what if it happens, like the context gets messed up or something like that? It's just not super reliable. And so instead it made sense, like what I could tell OpenClaw to do, Robert, my OpenClaw, is, hey, go build a make flow to execute what you're doing right now. And it already knows, like, it understands the make API. It can go in there and make the actual make automation. It can even go into the browser using Playwright and build it out. That's the power of OpenClaw, is that, even if you asked it to, it would tell you, hey, this is going to be the more reliable way. Go build a make automation. This is going to be way better than me having to worry about all this because I got a bunch of other stuff that I'm doing. And so that's where OpenClaw steps in. Is it more so is really an assistant? Like, I think it's the first true, and that's what's been so amazing about it, first true AI assistant to help you out with anything that you need. I think it's amazing for doing data entry and manual tasks that take up so much time. And you can just worry about the higher leverage thing of what specifically is it going to do, and then reviewing obviously the outputs itself. And it makes life so much easier. So just make sure you're not using OpenClaw for stupid stuff. Like, I think one of the worst things is funny. I saw a tweet by Andrew Tate, and he's just like, OpenClaw is a scam because all you do is just text it to do things, this and that. And it's like, yeah, to an extent, like it's super lame if you're using it for the wrong use cases. Absolutely. Like if you're just using it as a little like LLM on your Telegram, yeah, that's stupid. Like you don't necessarily need that. That's a pretty expensive use case to buy a Mac Mini or to go buy the $200 per month Anthropic subscription for whatever reason. You could probably just use Manuus, which they have a pretty good agent feature. It'd probably just do a better job, to be honest. But if you're using it for more custom specific cases, like for example, for me, I've been working with it to build out a bunch of slides and a bunch of playbooks that we're using for a bootcamp that we're running for a bunch of families and parents. And it's been extremely helpful in terms of making slides, in terms of making the playbook. I talk back and forth with it to build this out, and it's been amazing at doing so because it has access to the slides, it has access to Google Docs, it has access also memory that I gave it about certain resources, and it's able to pull from all that and use it accordingly. I can potentially do that in Manuus as well, but again, like I want that memory within there so that way I could pull upon that later on. It's been extremely helpful with that. So that way it has more context as we continue along. I want to train this up. Again, it's like this little baby that I'm trying to teach, that I'm trying to learn, trying to get it to adulthood as fast as possible. It's only been 4 weeks and it's done a killer job at it. But it's making sure that you're using it for a custom use case. And then again, like workflows are great. I don't think Make and Zapier and NAN are going away anytime soon, because there's a time and place for them. It's just making sure you're recognizing when there's a time and place for that, rather than OpenClaw. So that way you can use both of them effectively and also reliably. So hopefully this has kind of cleared some things up. Hopefully you're like, oh yeah, I have that one thing that built out in OpenClaw that, pings me in Slack during this time that I could probably just turn into a workflow because it's missed a couple things or whatever the case might be. And you can go do that right now. So hope you got something from this, and I'll see you in the next one.